Guess what? 40 years ago this year, a man named Dr. Robert Ballard discovered the Titanic wreckage using deep-sea technology and a remotely operated vehicle named Argo. You're seeing it on your screen right now. And guess what? Because of his research and a man I'm about to introduce you to, you now have a chance to learn about the Titanic in a way you have never seen before. Titanic, an immersive voyage, is on display right now at the Scottish Rite Temple. And I have to say, I did not know what I was walking into at first, but I left completely mind blown. Take a look at the experience.
My name is John Zaller, and I'm the executive producer. Titanic an Immersive Voyage takes you back to the story of Titanic and tells it in an entirely new way, using artifacts, recreations of rooms, and an incredible overlay of technology, both from a 35-minute immersive show and a breathtaking virtual reality where you actually dive to the wreck site of the Titanic. When we first enter, we take you into the lore of the Titanic story as to what it's become today. So we talk about all the movies, all the books, the conspiracy theories, all the different ideas around Titanic that we share with you in the first room. You actually can do your King of the World photo op on the bow of the Titanic. So it's really fun and exciting, but we say, why does Titanic mean so much to you? Why are you here today? Let's go back to the story of the Titanic and learn about it from the beginning to the end.
One of the cool things you get to do when you come to this amazing experience is that you get to be a person who gets to hold a boarding pass. They give you one when you get here. Okay, I've gotten Thomas Andrews Jr. He is from Ireland, 39 years old, and he was a member of the crew, the Titanic's chief engineer.
So Thomas Andrews, you designed this whole ship.
That's so cool.
Lead designer of the entire Titanic. This room is really dedicated to Thomas Andrews. This is our construction gallery. We do give everybody who enters a boarding pass with an actual passenger's name on it. Throughout the journey, you become their passenger.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the second floor, and John, I have to congratulate you. These photos that are on the walls throughout the exhibit and the one behind me and you are amazing. And these are actual original renderings of what the ship looked like?
That's right. So when you previously saw photos of Titanic, you saw them in black and white. So you got a sense of the ship, but now we've worked with historians and we've colorized these photos to include the textures and all the trappings of what it was like on board the Titanic in her glory.
It's so amazing.
This is the first class dining saloon. It spanned the full width of the ship, and we also have some beautiful artifacts from the dining on board the Titanic. We were talking about this caviar pot.
I know.
So could you imagine a pot of caviar that big?
Okay.
These little distinctions that set first class apart from second class, even though the food was cooked in the same galley for both classes.
Wow.
So you really got the same kind of fare, but you got to present it in a different way. Our artifacts primarily come from the Titanic, the Olympic, the Carpathia, and the Britannic. Those are the ships that are most important to the story, and they were typically recovered from the surface of the ocean just after the Titanic sank, or taken off the ship before its journey actually began. We also have letters that were written from Titanic that were mailed from the ship. We have Marconigrams, the wireless messages that were sent back and forth between the ships. So we have a lot of incredible artifacts that help broaden the lens of the overall Titanic story. We're in these incredible rooms like the grand staircase where we're standing now, and then we get to our immersive gallery, a 35-minute show that takes you into the Titanic story like you've never experienced before. 30-foot high walls, 360-degree projections surrounding you. You experience the Titanic from the beginning of the industrial era in the 1900s to its final moments above water, and you experience it in a way that you cannot be described, you just have to be there. Following that, we take you onto the Carpathia, the rescue ship that saved those Titanic survivors. And finally, you get to dive to the wreck of Titanic yourself using virtual reality goggles, where you dive 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the ocean and see the wreck of the Titanic in a way you couldn't even see it if you were in a submersible floating over the top of it.
Now, as I told you all earlier, I'm Thomas Andrews Jr., and over here you all have this memorial wall. Tell me about this.
So this memorial wall captures every name that's known of the folks who are on board the ship.
Wow.
Each side of this cube has members of first class, another section has members of second class, third class, and here we're standing in front of the crew. Thomas Andrews, who was traveling in first class, actually was a member of the crew, so we can check this wall to see whether he survived or the lower half lost in the sinking.
And take a look at that number. 213 saved that we know of, 698 people that we know of were lost. And I see right there, Andrews, Mr. Thomas.
Thomas Andrews,
39 years
was
old.
lost in the sinking. He was instrumental in getting people onto the lifeboats. He was making sure people had their life preservers on. He was pushing people from the lower classes. He was saying, please, please, please get on a lifeboat. Because as the designer of the ship, he knew how bad the situation was.
Wow.
And he was last seen sitting in the first class lounge, just thinking about what could have been had his ship made it across the North Atlantic. The Titanic story is one that no matter how deep you get into it, it's like peeling an onion. You're always learning something new. You're always seeing a different angle, discovering something new about the ship. I think that's why it's so fascinating to us today, because there's no end to the storytelling, to the discovery that you can make in the stories of Titanic.
Such an amazing experience. You can check out Titanic and Immersive Voyage right now at the Scottish Rite Temple, which is located at 1619 Carondelet Street. For more information and to get your tickets, log on to expo-titanic.com/new-or.